Hey oopsers, I'm Oopsman. This seemingly insignificant bucket caused the deaths of 2,000 people. Yes, you heard that right. A bucket! Maybe you think it was cursed and killed anyone who touched it in their sleep. Or perhaps it was a secret Freemason relic or the sacred banner of a terrorist group planning to take over the world with buckets. But no, the truth is even dumber than that. Let's rewind to 1325 700 years ago in northern Italy. Two rival cities, Bologna and Modena, were constantly at each other's throats over a classic medieval argument. Team Pope versus Team Emperor. Bologna was Team Pope, the Guelphs. Modena was Team Emperor, the Ghibellines. They absolutely hated each other's guts. Then one day, the Modenese pulled off the most James Bond-style heist in history. A daring, professional-level theft. But not of gold, not of jewels, not of anything remotely valuable. They stole an old wooden bucket from a public well in Bologna. A gang of Modenese snuck in under the cover of night and made off with a bucket. Maybe they thought this would crush Bologna's pride. And well, they were right. When the Bolognese woke up and discovered their beloved bucket was gone, they went into full volcanic eruption mode. This wasn't just theft. This was an attack on their honor. So naturally, they did the only logical thing. They assembled an army of 32,000 men. Just for a bucket. That's an army large enough to conquer half of Europe, but no, their one true mission was to retrieve a soggy piece of wood. Some historians claim the war was actually about deep political tensions. But let's be real, those people clearly don't understand history. Everything happened just because of a bucket. Meanwhile, the Modenese proudly paraded their stolen bucket like it was the world top. But when they saw 32,000 furious, sword-wielding men marching toward them, one of them said, "Oh, they're taking this very seriously. Shouldn't we just give the bucket back?" Of course not! We will defend this bucket to our last drop of blood. Big Oops War. The battle began in Zappolino. Officially, it was called the Battle of Zappolino, but let's be honest, no one cared about Zappolino. People just called it the War of the Bucket. Because, let's face it, that sounds way cooler. On one side, Bologna had 30,000 infantry and 2,000 cavalry, eyes burning with rage, ready to reclaim their sacred bucket. On the other, Modena had 5,000 foot soldiers and 2,000 knights, grinning ear to ear because they were now the proud owners of the most valuable bucket in history. The Bolognese commander roared, "The bucket, or death!" The Modenese commander smirked, "Sorry, bucket's on vacation. Try tomorrow." Everyone expected Bologna to win. They had the numbers. Each Modenese soldier had to fight 5 Bolognese. They had the motivation. They even had the Pope and all the holy forces praying for them. But apparently, the Wooden Grail's power was stronger than divine intervention. And yet, against all odds, they won. It was like a Sunday League team crushing Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. And so, 2,000 men died. In other words, 2,000 buckets of blood were spilled, all for a bucket of water worth less than a margarita pizza. The Bolognese, realizing they were up against bucket-powered superhumans, abandoned the fight and ran for their lives. But the Modenese weren't done. They chased them all the way back to Bologna. And because they were clearly the world's most bucket-obsessed people, they thought, why stop at one? Let's take another bucket. Bologna lost its bucket. Its pride was shattered. And for centuries, people probably called them the bucket losers. Meanwhile, the Modenese placed their trophy bucket in their cathedral, ironically run by a pope. And they proudly displayed the second bucket in City Hall, a symbol of victory, stupidity, and bucket-based bravery. People always find excuses to fight. This bucket, it represents every meaningless thing humans have ever killed each other over. Power, blind loyalty, and even a rotten wooden bucket. This bucket became a symbol of victory. The dumbest victory in human history. Now tell me, let's see, are you Team Pope or Team Emperor? Bolognese fans, hit that like button. Modenese fans, type in the comments, "Long live the Emperor." And that, my friends, was the War of the Bucket. Moral of the story: if someone ever steals your bucket, don't start a war, just buy a new one.